we're a small press comic book company here, located here in Maryland. We basically are showcasing all the titles that we have done over the past few years. This here is the second issue of the American Sentinel. We do have the first issue as well. It's based in World War II. The characters were created by experimentation to help the Allies defeat the Nazis, who discovered a wrecked alien spaceship, and they are using that technology to try to win the war. So the Allies created the American Sentinels to battle whatever the Nazis have and planned for them. We have been doing the Comic Con circuit since 2007, but I have started building the foundation for Heritage Comics back in 1992. And we did, in the late 90s, go to some conventions, but we didn't have as much material back then. And so we've been pretty ongoing since '07. We get a lot of questions, but one of the main questions they be asking us is how to get started. How did you get started? What do HSQ mean? They tell us that they do like our characters, they're interesting. We have got many positive responses because we try to do all ethnic background characters and with positive stories and everything. So we don't try to get caught up in that stereotype, and all our characters are pretty much strong, positive characters. I can't really comment too much on mainstream because I really stopped collecting comic books for the past 10 years, only because most of my funds went to Heritage. But when I do buy a book, mainstreams have a tendency to in my opinion, flood the market with whatever they think is going to work. When we put more of our heart, soul, and quality in our books, you know, I personally remember what got me into comic books. So I try to put that out in our comic books. You know, what got me started, what I liked about comics.
My name's Tyra Eads. I'm actually the Vice President of Heritage Comics, HSQ. I do a little bit of writing and mostly art for the book, penciling, some inking, very little coloring. I work on one of our main books, the Webspin character, which is about a Native American kid who pretty much is trying to find his way in the world, and it's loosely a Spider-Man type story, but he's more into Native American culture of the spider mythology. And he's pretty much based in Baltimore, but he gets around throughout the world a lot, and I'll leave that as a secret. I've also worked on the Fierce Operations for Heritage Comics, and that's more the spy type based G.I. Joe book. And the next book that's coming out for us would be Webspin versus the Fierce Operation. And it sort of mixes the two different genres together. You got the superhero, and then you got the spy / action type force versus this one superhero character. We're not just doing a couple of African American superheroes, your stereotypical, you know, from Africa or in the hood. We do a different variety of different genres. Actually, I'm writing, like I said, Webspin, who's a Native American character, and his whole mythology is based in that. So I'm not just doing an urban character who's, you know, trying to make it out of the hood or anything. I don't fit with that, you know. I want to go out and try and do different stories, whether it's horror, sci-fi, or, you know, just your basic spy type story meets the X-Files. So you'll find that a lot of our books, some of them may seem superhero-ish or, you know, outside of the norm, but we're going for that classic type story based of, you know, seeing a typical superhero like Captain Goodwill, you know, fly across the city and save, you know, some kid, because a lot of today's youth are used to video games and digital comics, and they're used to the more violent, even heavy language, stories, as opposed to some of the classic type stories that a lot of us older people got hooked to. So that's what you'll find at Heritage Comics, that we are definitely diverse and we have a lot of different titles. I like being comfortable with my surroundings. If I know that, this building is here on this street, I like to bring, local audience in, just like, hey, I remember the street, I know where that's at, to get them familiar. And if you're not familiar with Baltimore or some of the, things done in Maryland, then I like to, get the rest of the world involved in, like, that's not a bad place to visit. Or, I like to see where this is, see where your environment is taking place. Now, our heroes aren't based in, Maryland or Baltimore. They're all over the place, even in fictional stories, such as our Rebel 3, which is a story based in the far future. But, we like to have a variety of different things and a variety of different locales. So I think you'll find that we have a lot of different and interesting stories and characters.
They could check us on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, but our website is www.heritagecomicsHSQ.com.
Nerd love, nerd love, nerd love, nerd love.